If time heals all wounds, what happens when time can't move forward? What happens when you're stuck in a loop, living with your worst mistake, over and over, until it drives you insane? Welcome aboard the Aeolus, an abandoned cruise ship drifting endlessly on an ocean of guilt, regret, and time loop horror. This is the story of a woman who killed herself, lost her son, and never got off the boat. This is Triangle 2009, a psychological horror film that looks like a mind bender, plays like a slasher, and hits like a gut punch. Directed by Christopher Smith, it slipped under the radar when it came out, but let me tell you, this movie doesn't just deserve a second look, it demands one. Because once you board the Aeolus, you can never really leave. This isn't the first time you've watched this. We begin in a deceptively quiet house. Jess, played with haunted exhaustion by Melissa George, is tending to her son Tommy. No dialogue, just silent routine. We see her clean, fold, pick up spilled paint. She's overwhelmed, her face tired, her movements mechanical. And then, ding dong. She opens the door. No one's there. If this feels like a minor moment, think again. This is the film tipping its hand in the first 5 minutes. Jess is already in the loop. The film isn't hiding that, you just don't know how deep it goes yet. Outside, a neighbor is working on his car. She asks him if he saw anyone. He says no. That neighbor will matter later, but not in the way you think. Jess arriving at the harbor. She's been invited on a boating trip by Greg, a nice guy she met at the diner where she works. He tells her she should have brought Tommy. Jess hesitates. He's at school, she says, awkwardly. Lie number 1. Jess is not just hiding something. She's burying it. And we're about to dig it up. Something is wrong with the sky. Jess boards the yacht with Greg and his friends, Victor played by baby-faced Liam Hemsworth, Heather, and couple Sally and Downey. Standard group dynamics. Flirtation, awkwardness, light banter. But Jess. She's disconnected. She looks like she hasn't slept in days. Like she's living a different timeline in her head. Spoiler. She is. Then things go south. Fast. The wind dies. The skies darken. The ocean becomes still. A strange electrical storm approaches like it's hunting them. Greg tries the radio, nothing but static. Then, a broken message, a strange voice that cuts out before he can get a response. Heather is swept into the water. The boat capsizes. Everything goes white. This is not a survival story. This is the beginning of Jess's descent into hell. Welcome aboard the Aeolus. Out of the mist glides a cruise ship. Towering. Rusted. Silent. The name on the side. Aeolus. That's your first Greek myth reference. Aeolus was the god of wind, and as we'll soon learn, this ship is less a vessel and more a prison of divine punishment. The survivors board the ship, and it's empty. No crew. No passengers. Not even bodies. Just long corridors, eerie 1930s music, and the smell of deja vu. And here's where it gets really creepy. Jess starts noticing things. A dropped keychain identical to hers. A stain she swears she's seen before. Rooms that look familiar. She's not just having a weird day, she's retracing steps she hasn't taken yet. Time isn't broken. It's looping. The Aeolus isn't just haunted, it's repeating. The loop tightens. Suddenly, violence erupts. Victor tries to kill Jess, wild-eyed, bloody, confused. Greg is shot. Sally and Downey die. And stalking them all is a masked figure with a shotgun, like something out of a slasher movie. But when Jess confronts the killer, they struggle, and the figure tumbles overboard. Then Jess hears shouting. She runs to the edge of the ship. And sees herself on the capsized yacht, screaming for help, repeating the same moment she just lived through. Exactly. And that's when your stomach drops. Jess isn't watching a new group. She's watching the past. Or maybe the future. Or both. The ship doesn't care. The ship of eternal regret. Now that the loop has been revealed, Jess tries to change the outcome. She tries to warn Victor. Help Greg. Save Sally. But every decision still leads to death. Every loop leads back to square one. And the ship keeps revealing its secrets. A pile of lockets, all identical to Jess's. Dozens of dead Sallys in one corridor, each having crawled there in terror. Scratch marks on the walls, like someone's been keeping count. Or going insane. Or both. This is not a puzzle Jess can solve. It's a punishment she can't escape. So she makes a terrifying decision. If I kill everyone before the killer can, maybe I can stop the loop. That's how far gone she is. And in the most chilling twist of all, she becomes the thing she feared, the masked killer. She becomes the slasher. She becomes the monster. Trying to kill her past selves before they screw up again. And it still doesn't work. Home isn't what it used to be. Eventually, Jess falls overboard during another confrontation with herself, and washes ashore. She makes it home. But this time, we're back where we started. The house, the sun, the spilled paint. Except now we hear the audio. Jess screaming at her son. Calling him names. Hitting him. It's not ambiguous anymore. She wasn't just tired or stressed. She was abusive. And then she kills her past self with a hammer. Let that sit for a second. She kills herself. Drags the body out. Puts it in the trunk. All while her son watches from the stairs, terrified. And she tells him, it was just a bad dream. That might be the most disturbing line in the entire movie. The dead seagulls and the final crash. Jess drives off with Tommy. The sun is shining. Maybe they can finally escape this nightmare. Then, bam! A seagull hits the windshield. Blood smears the glass. Jess pulls over. She gets out, tosses the bird off the cliff, and sees something horrifying. A pile of dead seagulls already lying there. She's done this before. Again. And again. And again. She rushes back to the car, shaken. Tommy's crying about the blood. Jess turns to calm him, and drives into the path of a semi-truck. The crash is brutal. Final. Loud. And then, silence. A body bag on the road. A sheet covering a child. And Jess, watching from a distance. Not dead. Still looping. Still here. She steps into a taxi. The driver says, nothing to be done now. She tells him, take me to the harbor. And the screen cuts to black. She never left the harbor. Here's the truth of Triangle. Jess never left the harbor. The storm. The boat. The cruise ship. All of it. It's purgatory. It's memory. It's guilt. She died in that car crash. And now she's stuck reliving the moment that haunts her the most, the death of her son, and the part she played in it. Like Sisyphus rolling his boulder. Like the myth of Aeolus and his cursed winds. Jess is condemned to repeat the loop until she accepts what she did. But she never does. She just keeps going back to the harbor. Over and over. Forever. The scariest horror isn't what we see. It's what we remember. It's what we can't forgive ourselves for. Triangle isn't just a horror movie. It's a confession. A purgatory. A tragedy on loop. It's not about escaping time. It's about how time refuses to let you go when you haven't made peace with yourself. Jess doesn't need to break the loop. She needs to forgive herself. And she can't. And that is true horror.